This weekend, Colorado is stopping to remember Micah Flick, the El Paso County deputy shot and killed in the line of duty on Monday. Flick is the third Colorado deputy killed in just over a month. And these deaths are hard on our Colorado community, but they take an even bigger toll on those within the law enforcement community and their families. Who can forget the words from Gracie Parrish speaking at her husband Zach's funeral, or the words of Natasha Gum read out loud by Heath Gum's father.
And to everyone out there, I beg of you, can we please end these awful, pointless tragedies?
Babe, you were an amazing father and loved your girls so well. I promise to raise our girls with the Lord as my focus. I promise to raise them in a home that bleeds blue.
And here to talk with us today about those moments, I should say, are Aurora Police Chief Nick Metz and former Denver Police Detective John Adsett. Thank you both for being here.
Thank you, Jim.
What do you think of when you hear those words, when you know what was happening in those two funerals?
Well, having been involved in assisting in the planning of those funerals, and I've probably helped plan 30 plus law enforcement related funerals in my career. The one thing I can tell you, it never gets easier. And every time our officers go to these funerals, it's a constant reminder of the dangers that they face each and every day. And that those dangers may not necessarily be at the end of a gun, much like what John here had faced. And so every day we know that when our officers put that uniform on, when they kiss their family goodbye, that officer and that family know that there is a risk that they may not come home at the end of shift.
John, for you, I'm sure those words hit home for you.
Yeah, they really do hit home, and I think realizing the impact on a family and the support system that they really need to get through something like this is just so important, and the law enforcement community, the community in general, their families, everybody really has to step up and support not only those that have fallen, but those that were victims as well that survived.
Well, you were hit on Colfax. You just had your 30th surgery. You're no longer on the force. How do you get through something like that? And was it worth it?
Well, I would say that all of these men and women, first of all, they're amazing heroes, and I would say that every one of them would say it was worth it. I absolutely would say it was worth it. I think it was basically a providential thing for me and planned long before I was born. But the bottom line is that it's a calling to this career, and as you listen to the Gracie or listen to the families, you hear the passion that really came from these officers. They loved their jobs, they loved their community,
absolutely.
And they were there to help.
Yet, Chief Metz, it has to be really difficult to keep people motivated. I mean, when they, as you said, you have planned so many of these funerals, you've seen so much.
You know, I think we're really fortunate here, particularly in the Colorado area, in the Colorado state, that, you know, our officers, we really push resiliency as the philosophy of what we do. And yeah, it brings us down when a fellow officer is killed in the line of duty or seriously injured, but at the same time, that support that we get from the community and that support we get from our families, it helps us put that uniform on each and every day. I will tell you, however, you know, when you've had so many deaths in such a short period of time, the area that we're most concerned about, particularly with the Aurora Police Department, and I know within other law enforcement agencies in the area, is what is that impact to the families? Because those families, again, are, you know, they kiss their loved one goodbye, and again, they sit there for that shift hoping and praying that you know, their husband or wife, mother, father are going to be okay.
Right.
So we're really working hard right now to make sure that we're reaching out to our families and to making sure that the families know that there are resources available to them.
Is there enough mental health resources for families, for current officers, current law enforcement?
I would say there's never going to be enough, but we are working with what we have. We're fortunate that in our area we've got really good psych services that specialize in policing. Many police departments in the area have peer support programs that are helped managed by those psych services. In Aurora, we've created a full-time wellness program that with 2 police officers who work full-time to really make sure that our folks are getting whatever resources they need. We recruit from the human race, so our folks are dealing with a lot of issues
Sure.
outside of just
Sure.
what they deal with on the job.
El Paso County Sheriff Elder says in recent years there's been a lack of respect for the men and women who are out there to protect our communities. Do you two see it that way? He saw it as a growing lack of respect.
I think when you look at what's happened over the last few years, when you think about Ferguson and Boston and other, or not Boston, excuse me, Baltimore, and some of those major incidents that have occurred, it has eroded that relationship between the police and the community. But I think also we're very lucky in the Denver metro area that the departments are really working hard to forge that relationship. I can tell you, a day never goes by that somebody doesn't approach me or one of my officers and says, thank you for what you do, and that means a lot.
Although I think we often hear that people say they forget to look beyond the badge and realize that you are fathers and brothers and sisters. Can the same be said about the people you're responding to? I mean, you mentioned Ferguson and other issues.
Well, I think, you know, these are tenuous situations within law enforcement that we need to deal with, but I think the important thing to keep in mind that I've heard over the last 3 years since my accident is that there's a loud voice, but it's a small portion of our population that are throwing these negative things at our police officers. The unfortunate thing is that day in and day out, a lot of officers hear this bad rhetoric and the lack of respect for the profession itself, and so they can easily fall into thinking that's the way that it is. But the reality is that the major majority, I'd say 98%, when I go and talk to injured officers, same experience for myself, when you actually realize the support that the community has for you as an officer, that's huge. And so I think there's somewhat of a paradigm shift going on right now that's very positive, in that officers, unfortunately, we're seeing this in tragic situations, but we're seeing an overwhelming support of officers from the community that loves and appreciates them.
We have about 30 seconds left, so from each of you, what do you want people to know about men and women in blue out there?
Very simply, is the men and women who serve these communities every single day do it because they care, do it because they are committed to protecting those who can't protect themselves, who are committed to going into harm's way when everybody is running out, and they do it because they believe in what they do, and it's a passion for them.
John?
Yeah, I would agree with that, and just say that the community. The community really are the police. We need the community to stay involved, to continue to let their officers know that they are loved, respected, and honored in this area and line of work.
All right, gentlemen, thank you so much. John Adsit,
Thank you,
Chief
Ann.
Metz, we
Thank you.
appreciate you coming in and
Appreciate it.
speaking with
Thank
us
you.
today.
Thank you so much.
We'll be right back.